story just came in. A tweet from Khamenei 40 minutes ago. Our enemies don't know Iran. In the past, the U.S. failed due to their flawed planning. Today, too, their flawed scheming will cause them to fail again. Okay, so that's Khamenei. Now, keep in mind.
I don't know if he's in the country still.
No, we don't know that. And he says, God willing, God will bring the feeling of victory to the streets of the hearts of all the Iranian people very soon. So he's been tweeting left and right. Today, like the past, the U.S. is wrong in its calculation about Iran. Today, the Iranian nation is even more equipped and armed than that day before the revolution. Both our spiritual strength and hard conventional weapons can't be compared to what we had before. By the way, he's tweeted like 7, 8, 10 times this morning. The Iranian people will not tolerate the hirelings of foreign powers. Okay, so why don't we do this? Khamenei, question for you and Pezeshkian. Why did you turn off the internet yesterday? Rob, if you want to go to the tweet just go to my Twitter account, Rob. You don't even need to go to a different place. Yeah, right there. So zoom in a little bit on the bottom, the chart to show to him. This is the internet in Iran. Completely shut down as of yesterday. So Khamenei and Pezeshkian, why did you turn it off? Why is that turned off? Number came in right now, 50 plus people have been killed, died in Iran. Now, some are saying it's in the hundreds. When you talk to people who are Iranian, nobody knows. But there's a lot of different things that are being talked about. And on top of that, yesterday, I believe Reza Pahlavi, Rob, if you want to pull up his Twitter account, there was a story by a guy named Eli who tweets out, I send it to you, Rob, in your text. There's a tweet by Eli, Rob, I send it in your text. There's a tweet by a guy named Eli that said yesterday Reza Pahlavi was going to meet with Donald Trump. So that was a meeting that came out. I say they're going to have a meeting at the beginning. The bottom tweet, Rob, if you can just click on the bottom tweet. This was going viral. Breaking, Iran's crown prince is going to Mar-a-Lago to meet with the president. 2 hours later, after this goes viral, the same guy retweets and says, correction, good for him. Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi will hold a meeting at Mar-a-Lago, but he is not scheduled to meet with Trump. And then yesterday, Hugh Hewitt asks the president a question of whether he'd be willing to meet with Reza Pahlavi. And here's what the president had to say. Go ahead, Rob.
Happen. Would you meet with Crown Prince Pahlavi, who is the heir to the constitutional monarchy? He doesn't want to rule. He would be a symbolic ruler like King Charles.
Well, I've watched him, and he seems like a nice person, but I'm not sure that it would be appropriate at this point to do that as president. I think that we should let everybody go out there and we see who emerges. I'm not sure necessarily that it would be an appropriate thing to do.
Okay, so he doesn't want to meet with them. Now, in the last week, in a Wall Street Journal interview, Reza Pahlavi said that we need no help from U.S. The Iranians are going to be able to pull this off by themselves. And I said, if that's the case, your father didn't go and become a king without any intervention. He needed help. You know that. The world knows that people got involved to get him in there because they wanted Mossadegh out. So that's his famous line at the Wall Street Journal, which a lot of Iranians were furious with. We don't need a single boot of your military on the ground in Iran. Got criticized hardcore by his own people. He flips. Now in every tweet he posts, Trump is in the tweet. Rob, if you can go to one of Reza Pahlavi's tweets where he says, I am grateful that the president, I send you that tweet as well, Rob. But if you just want to go to his account, you'll see it. Yeah, if you just go to his account, go a little bit lower, not this one. It is, no, not that one. This is, okay, go to, that's the recent one, which we'll get to here in a minute. Go a little bit lower. Right there, Rob. If you can click on that one, show more, the one above it. Okay, you can use that one as well. It says, I want to thank the leader of the free world, President Trump, for reiterating to his promise to hold the regime to account. So, Reza, what does that mean? Do you want intervention or you do not want intervention? So now you're flip-flopping. And by the way, I want you to know, if you're going to pull it off. It is time for others, including European leaders, to follow his lead and break their silence and act more decisively in support of the people. Now, the one thing that we do know is Netanyahu's met with RP many times. They had a picture, so Israel definitely is supportive of Reza Pahlavi. But if you go on a previous tweet, Rob, he says another thing about Trump. Go above it. Go above it right there. Click on that one, show more. I appreciate President Trump as a leader once again for emphasizing the necessity of now is the time for others to go back up to the recent tweet that he just had up. He just had a recent tweet that came up like 23 minutes ago. That's the one right there. Mr. President, this is an urgent and immediate call for your attention, support, and action. Last night, you saw the millions of brave Iranians in the streets facing down live bullets. Today, they are, Rob, can you please zoom in a little bit? My eyes are like 47 years old. Today, they are facing not just bullets, but a total communication blackout. No internet, no landlines. Khamenei fearing the end of his criminal regime at the hands of the people and will help of your powerful promise to support protesters has threatened the people of the streets with a brutal crackdown, and he wants to use his blackout to murder these young heroes. I've called the people to the streets to fight for their freedom and to overwhelm the security forces with sheer numbers. Last night they did that. Your threat to this criminal regime also kept the regime thugs at bay. But time is of the essence. The people will be on the streets again in an hour. I'm asking you to help. You have proven, and I know you are a man of peace and a man of war. Please be prepared to intervene to help the people of Iran. Make up your mind.
I know that's very
clear. Let me just finish this up. Make up your mind. So do you want intervention or not? Now, let me give you the other problem you're facing. And by the way, some of the people online that are like, well, Pat supports MEK. Let me just say this flat out. I had a call yesterday with a higher-ups about MEK. This is what I learned about MEK, to all the people that are talking about MEK. So MEK is somebody that was previously pro-Khomeini, and then they went and helped Saddam Hussein. It's like Marxism meets, jihadists, Islamists combined together. They're like I don't even know if I would say AOC meets Mamdani of what they're doing. I don't even think she's good for Iran at all. But that's a name, that's somebody that's out there. Let me tell you what I'm looking for some of the people that are wondering if I'm paid by MEK. 1 minute, so funny, I saw two tweets. One tweet said I'm paid by Qatar. The other tweet said I'm paid by MEK. And 6 months ago, they said I got paid by Israel. So who the hell am I getting paid by, right? I'm not, we're not taking money from anybody. But this is the reality to the Iranian people and specifically to Reza Pahlavi. Very important for you. Very, very important to pay attention to this. I contacted Kalshi this morning. Rob, can you pull up the Kalshi numbers on who Kalshi sees as the next leader for Iran? Okay, so can you zoom in, please? Next leaders for Iran. If you go a little bit lower with the list of names and click more, they have Mojtaba Khamenei at 25%, which means it's going to be another Khamenei. Oh, God. Then they have Golsan Hossein Mohseni, 23%. Then I have Hassan Khomeini, 19%. Who do you not see on there? You do not see Reza Pahlavi on there. Nope. So I contacted Kalshi and I said, we need to add Reza Pahlavi to this list. And Iranians, for those of you guys that are in America, this is what the world is looking at. Nowadays, decisions are being made by Kalshi. Okay, for you guys to go out there and sit there and say, wait a minute, how come he's not on there? By the way, Nargis is not even on this list. But Reza Pahlavi's not on this list. So the people that are betting are saying, we don't believe it's going to be him. But I do believe he has a shot. Here's the screw up. I would have gladly have said this privately, but he's forcing me to say all this stuff publicly to him. And all the Iranians, I cannot believe, Shoma nemidunun chi harf mizani and all this other stuff. Listen, we want to see this happen, okay? We would like to see this happen. I wish he had competition. There literally is no competition in Iran that's going up against RP. I wish there was. This is why he's so soft. He needs competition. He needs somebody to poke him. He needs somebody to disrupt him. He needs somebody to wake his ass up. And I'm willing to play that card because there's no other candidate. Not Nargis, not any of these other guys. That would be good for the Iranian people. But Reza Pahlavi, pay very close attention, and I'm going to give you a case study of somebody to watch. Venezuela. Maduro was taken. When he was taken, everybody thought it was going to be Maria Corina Machado. What did he do? He says no. He put Maduro's VP in there reporting to Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is more about intervening. J.D. Vance is not. Watch what Maria Corina Machado did. Pay very close attention because you suck at diplomacy, Reza Pahlavi. You absolutely suck at diplomacy. So I'm going to give you this message. and I'll be the guy that's pushing you around a little bit, and I can be the enemy. Gladly, I'm comfortable with it. It doesn't bother me. All these messages and videos you guys make, you're comical to me because you're so worried about, God forbid, somebody says something to this man that is going to be a little bit too sensitive. You don't talk to him this way. I will gladly talk this way, and you can say whatever you want to say. Nothing is going to happen here. I'm going to be comfortable giving this message. Maria Corina Machado, the worst thing that happened to her to be the leader of Venezuela was when she won the Nobel Peace Prize. The day she won it, she knew, look how wise she is, she knew if I have to exchange this Nobel Peace Prize to help Venezuela be free, screw this Nobel Peace Prize. I want Venezuela to be free. And you know what she just said? She says, I want to fly out to go meet with the president to hand him over the Nobel Peace Prize. And then the president has asked this question, is this the one, Rob? Is this the short segment? Because I don't want to go through the whole 7-minute one. Sean Hannity asked the question and says, she offered to give you the Nobel Peace Prize. What would you do about it? If you can play this clip, please, go for it.
Let me ask you about Maria Corina Machado. I've had her on TV this week.
Yeah, she's a very nice person.
Okay, she won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yes.
When she accepted that Peace Prize, she dedicated it to you. She said to me this week, both on TV and radio,
brilliant,
that she wants to give the Nobel Prize, her Nobel Peace Prize,
the people
to you
matter more
for
to
liberating
her than
country.
her ego.
In 2023, she won over 92% of the vote to be the leader of the opposition. Maduro kept her off the ballot. Do you have any plans to meet with her? And would you accept the Nobel Prize she wants to hand to you?
Well, I understand she's coming in next week sometime. And I look forward to saying hello to her. And I've heard that she wants to do that. That would be a great honor. I did put out 8 wars. 8 1/4, because, you know, Thailand and Cambodia started going at it again.
I'll put the list up
I give
if
a
you
quarter,
want.
so it's...
Yeah.
You can
put
pause
the
it
list
right
out,
there.
it's
You can pause it right there. So remember, look at the diplomacy and the wisdom of Maria Corina Machado, who is like, why the hell would you give me the Nobel Peace Prize? This man prevented 8 wars. You're giving it to me? She's wise. She says, I would much rather give it to you because she knows she's going to need his help. I want to applaud you, Reza Pahlavi. You've been more diplomatic the last 4 or 5 days since I called you out on reaching out to the Trump's camp, and apparently you've been trying to get a hold of their camp. You're taking the right approach. But just keep in mind how she played. That is the best. You are the luckiest man alive to have a case study right now of Venezuela taking place. That is a very similar story to Iran. Make sure whoever's in your ear, you're making the right next few moves. You're going to need his help. This nonsense article you did with Wall Street Journal, I hope nobody ever reads it again of, we don't need anybody's help. You've shifted because you're paying close attention. But if you take this next move properly and you go to the man and you're respectful with him, he comes and help you out, you have a standing chance. I don't know what that role is going to be. I'd like to see you be on Kalshi so other people can vote for it. But according to the people that bet in Las Vegas, they don't believe you're winning. Iranians, go on Kalshi on that. Rob, can we put that link below for Kalshi? Because the world is seeing this kind of stuff to see who they're going to be rooting for. And FYI, go to another report on Kalshi, Rob, the one that says which leaders are about to fall. Watch this, folks. This is to the Iranians. This is very good for you to see. Watch this one. Zoom in a little bit, Rob, if you can. Who they say is going to go, leaders that are going to be out in 2027. Can you put more, Rob, on the bottom so the names go lower? Click more.
Rob,
Markets.
I also sent you an image.
Watch
if you
this.
want
Look
that.
who's all the way at the top.
Wow.
Khamenei is number 1 at 60%.
Good.
Above everybody. Keir Starmer, Miguel Diaz-Canel, Netanyahu, Zelensky, Orban. He's above it all. So Iranians around the world, if you're watching this, my priority is for you to be free. I'd like to come back and visit first. To the people that are in RP's ear, encourage him to pay very close attention to how wise of a decision Maria Corina Machado made. She didn't play this ego thing. We don't need Trump's help. And he's making the moves. If you don't, you're hurting your own people. The Iranians need Trump. You don't have a military to protect them. Yes, they came out. That's great. But you're going to need Trump's help to be able to help you out with this next move that's taking place.
Respectfully.
What would what?
PBD, what kind of help are you talking about?
Listen, what kind of help is the following? You threaten somebody right now and say, I swear to God, if you say anything, I'm going to hit you. Okay? You're
well,
Rob
I
Schneider.
wouldn't say that. I wouldn't
no, but
say
hear
that.
me out. I say there's two threats. Whose threat do you think carries more weight, yours or John Jones?
I don't threaten people.
That's not the question, though. The question is,
Whose
whose threat carries more weight, yours or John Jones?
John Jones, obviously.
No shit, right? So John Jones has got more threats. So in
But
here,
I don't think that that's a proper analogy.
but I think it's a proper analogy for the following reason.
What would be
and I'm telling you, I'm answering your question with a question. To me, what I'm saying is with Iran is Reza Pahlavi's threat mean nothing to Khamenei.
True that.
Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Khamenei looks at Reza Pahlavi and laughs at him. Khamenei looks at Reza Pahlavi like, you're a little boy, you've never had a job in your life. But Khamenei looks at Trump and says, that's not a guy I want to mess with. Khamenei fears Trump.
Mm-hmm.
He does not fear Reza Pahlavi. Anytime you're in this kind of a position, just like Corina Machado, just like a Reza Pahlavi, just like these guys, you have to sit there and say, I'm going to need some kind of leverage from somewhere, not even if it's somebody that fears us. I can get things done for my people.
So you're talking leverage. You're not talking about. I'm talking about specific military action.
I'm not talking about go attack and send troops over there. No, not at all. But just the thought of the person knowing, because when Trump threatens, and he did what he did to Qasem Soleimani, Trump's threats are not lightweight threats. He has a reputation. Sometimes when you build that reputation up as a person that when you say you're going to do something, you do it, that's all you need.
Okay. All right. Just asking. I will say that we have to be, I just think if you go back to the Shah of Iran and how he was pushed out because Iran was getting at that time 16% of the oil profits in 1952 from the predecessor to British Petroleum. And then when they said, well, we want more, and then the Brits said no. And they said, well, can we at least look at the books to see if we're getting 16%? Then they said no. And then they asked for $1 million from Truman to the Brits to overthrow Mossadegh, because Mossadegh at that point nationalized the oil. Then he went to Eisenhower and said, can we get, and then Eisenhower said yes. And then they sent a paid mob in front of the presidential palace. And then that didn't really work. And then they sent two, and then, Mossadegh had to jump over they burned it down. Mossadegh had to jump over the fence. And then you had 26 years of the Shah of Iran. And during that time, the secret police, we can't, I would suggest that they not have that repeat of that, because what it did was it set up, a similar thing to happen where people were, if you could, where anybody who was the opposition.
I don't think you follow the podcast,
squished.
do you? You don't. You probably don't follow the Iranian story
I'm just
here
talking
with
about
us.
that. That's the history that I know
what you just said
about.
right there is that you don't want a constitutional monarchy to return to Iran.
No, I'm saying that I don't want a secret police underneath the monarchy to return to
You're talking about
Iran.
Savak, is what you're talking
Yes.
about. Okay, so then that's under. But here's what you have to realize.
But I'm saying, look, I don't mind a monetary, a monarchy that would support a constitutional republic of some sort.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't want a return of Savak. You're absolutely right. I don't want that.
And by the way, just so you know that we here are not about returning to constitutional monarchy. I'd like to see a republic. I'd like to see
I agree.
democracy. I'd like to see something like that. But by the way,
I'd like to see the Iranian people decide that.
For sure. But also when you talk about Savak, you know what Savak is?
Yeah, it's a secret police.
So Savak is MI6. Savak is CIA. Savak is Mossad. So, but the part about Savak that you have to think about is the way you look at Savak is what Iranians in the Middle East and the world thinks about CIA.
Sure. No,
so
they're
it's
not
like,
wrong.
Yeah. So to us, we have in our CIA, when we go look at the history of ours with economic hitman, we would go to other countries who had resources and say, hey, you're going to take this debt from us. You're going to do business with us or else we're going to kill you. These are documented meetings that we had with world leaders in the past.
Yeah.
And so that's Savak. I know it's always very
It radicalized people, and it set up the situation for Khomeini. So I'm saying let's not do a repeat of that.
Well,
For the Iranian people, let them decide.
What happened with Reza Pahlavi at the end is he got soft at the end because he allowed the 3,000 political prisoners when Jimmy Carter's like, release them all. That ended up being Hezbollah's. That ended up being the ISIS, that ended up being all those guys.
Yes,
when
but
they
I'm
released
talking
them.
about the 20, respectfully, PBD, if I can call you that. No, respectfully, I think the 26 years of really not allowing any political opposition to his reign created that kind of tension and that kind
That's
of
a fair
fear.
argument. That's a fair,
that's why
a
I'm
fair
saying,
argument for that. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and I think at the end of the day, I mean, you're a rational person who wants what's best for the
Right.
Iranian people, and that is to your credit, and I think we all do. But I think it's important to recognize in the past.
For
I mean,
sure.
just like what's happening now, we're recognizing. I think you're having not a revolution in this country, you're having a counter-revolution to some of the lunacy policies that we've had, like opening up the border to millions of people just to simply.
But if I have to say this respectfully,
yeah.
if I have to choose Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi, that was still there, and let's just say he never fell in 79 and Savak was still Savak. Let's say Savak is still around till today. If I have to choose what Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi did with Savak, and then later on say his son right now would be the king of Iran, Reza Pahlavi, who he's not, versus what Khamenei, IRGC did to the world in the Middle East, 100 out of 100 times, I choose Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi and following his son, Reza Pahlavi. Not 80 out of 100 times, 100 out of 100 times.
I see your point.
And by the way, just so you know, if Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi was still, he died, he had health issues, but say his son follows his lead and is close to his dad, 9/11 never happens. So 9/11 doesn't happen. Those 3,600 people that were working in the World Trade Center, they're still around. They're still going to their families. They're still going and spending time with their kids. They're still seeing their parents. They're still able to enjoy the American dream. They're still able to do that. That was due to the fall of the Iranian Revolution. Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi, as much shit as everybody from the left, right, and center gives him, he kept the Middle East safe. There was no to little wars in the Middle East when he was the king of Iran. Now, you can call it Savak, you can call it this, you can call it that. And by the way, even him in interviews said that Savak used to do certain things. Even him with Mike Wallace said, we used to torture, but not anymore. He said that in interviews. So you're right, they did some of those things.
Well, I mean, if we just look at the interventionist policies of the United States, one of the consistent things that happens, PBD, is that we seem to replace secular leaders, and they get replaced with this Muslim extremists.
I agree.
Well, extremists. I'm just saying Muslim. Islamists who actually follow what the Quran says.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no such thing as moderate Islam. That doesn't exist. So, but I'm saying that's why I don't think I know Venezuela will not be the same, because if you take a look at the other presidents, of intervention, Panama and Grenada every year has like a holiday for commemorating the invasion of Grenada and Panama. So I think that you're going to have a very similar situation, and I think we have to be careful. That for Mexico, that's leaning socialistic, and I think what has made Mexico, which is such an incredible country with such amazing people, lovely people, is that they've been imprisoned and tortured by they'll lose 50,000. In a less than a decade in Mexico. The cartels, they have to eventually go, and I don't know how that is done, but it certainly would make Mexico, for the people, that would be, it would get them out of the prison that is made from those cartels.
Adam.
Well, let me stay on Iran for a second. So this is what happens when you go full Islamic. The famous line from the movie Tropic Thunder, like, never go full retard. Iran went full Islamic. And we're seeing other case examples of when you go full Islamic, whether it's ISIS, whether it's Al-Qaeda, whether it's Hezbollah, whether it's Hamas, whether it's Boko Haram, you go full Islamic, this is what happens to your society.
Vinny, his gear, faith over fear, tens of thousands of pieces sold out in a couple weeks. Tell us about Faith Over Fear, Vinny.
Well, just letting everybody know, I appreciate everybody that's getting on board. I saw a guy at the airport that was wearing the Faith Over Fear. I was at a diner, and some guy patted me on the back and was like, hey, what is that all about? And he wanted to know what Hebrews 11, chapter 1 was, and we got into a really good conversation. And I know I always talk about faith over fear being like in the Bible with the centurion, soldier whose kid was healed, where Jesus just said, "Go, because of your faith, it's going to be healed." And the woman that had the bleeding issue that pushed through the crowd, that just touched Jesus's hem of his clothing, and he was healed. So I want people to know that that's back in the biblical days. Faith over fear still applies today. It's, you know, it's what starting a business when the numbers scare you, speaking the truth when silence feels safer. Fear waits for comfort, and faith moves with conviction. You guys can go on there right now. We have a hat that's coming soon. I don't want to give it away, but you guys can go to, is it FLB?
VTmerch.com.
Oh, VT Merch. Go to VTmerch.com. Guys, we have hoodies, we have hats, rock it, and let people know where you stand.
I love it. Go to VTmerch.com, place your order, buy it for yourself, your friends, your peers.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.